This simple traffic violation ruined his entire life. On a crisp fall morning in October 2007, Darryl Freeman kissed his wife and 3-year-old daughter goodbye, slid into his beat-up Toyota Corolla, and headed off to work. He was a 28-year-old warehouse supervisor in Charlotte, North Carolina, known for his quiet demeanor, punctuality, and devotion to his family. He never expected that a minor traffic stop, one that should have ended in a simple warning, would spiral into a nightmare that would haunt him for years. What happened next will make you question how justice really works. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Darryl was running late that morning. The alarm hadn't gone off, and in his rush, he didn't notice that his rear license plate light was out. Less than 5 minutes from his job, a police cruiser flashed its lights behind him. Darryl, calm and compliant, pulled over immediately. Officer Raymond Connors approached the car. "You know why I pulled you over?" he asked. "No, sir," Darryl replied politely. "Your tag light's out. License and registration, please." Darryl handed over the documents. But then things took a strange turn. Officer Connors lingered at the back of the vehicle. Backup arrived within minutes. 2 more squad cars, lights flashing. Darryl watched nervously in his rearview mirror. He hadn't done anything wrong, but the mood changed. The officers asked him to step out. "Mind if we search the car?" Connors asked. Darryl hesitated. "Did I do something wrong, sir?" His hesitation was all the probable cause Connors needed. Within minutes, they claimed to have found a plastic bag of white powder under the passenger seat. "What is this, Darryl?" Connors asked. Darryl was stunned. "I don't know. That's not mine." The bag tested positive for cocaine on a field test, known to be notoriously unreliable. Darryl was handcuffed on the spot, in front of passing drivers, in front of his co-workers who happened to be driving by. That day, he lost more than his freedom. He lost his reputation. The charges were serious: possession with intent to distribute. The prosecution painted Darryl as a small-time drug dealer, despite 0 criminal record, no prior arrests, and no evidence of drug activity in his home or personal life. Darryl's court-appointed attorney met him for only 15 minutes before the trial. "They're offering you a plea deal, 5 years, he said. "It's better than 20. "But I didn't do anything," Darryl insisted. "That's not my stuff. Doesn't matter. It's your car." That's how the system works. Out of fear, and against every fiber of his being, Darryl took the deal. He was sentenced to 5 years in state prison. Inside, Darryl fought to survive. He missed his daughter's first day of school. His wife, overwhelmed and alone, eventually filed for divorce. He lost his home, his job, his family, everything that had once made life meaningful. Years passed. Darryl kept to himself, working in the prison library, educating himself on the law. He learned about wrongful convictions, the flaws in field drug tests, and cases eerily similar to his. Something in him refused to give up. In his 6th year, after serving more time than his original plea, Darryl was finally released due to a backlog of cases being re-evaluated for faulty drug evidence. The lab tests conducted after his conviction showed the white powder was crushed Tylenol. Tylenol. He had served 6 years in prison over a bottle of crushed, over-the-counter medicine. No drugs. No intent to distribute. No crime. But the damage had already been done. Darryl walked out of prison into a world that had moved on without him. He was labeled a felon. Finding a job was nearly impossible. His ex-wife had remarried. His daughter, now 9 years old, barely remembered him. He tried to appeal, sue, speak out, but the system offered no compensation, no apology, just silence. But Darryl didn't stop. He partnered with local activists. He started speaking at community events. He told his story again and again, pushing for reform in how traffic stops are handled, how evidence is collected, and how public defenders are assigned. He helped pass a bill in his state that required lab testing before charges could be filed for drug possession. He fought for those who had no voice, those still trapped in the system like he once was. Today, Darryl runs a nonprofit that helps wrongfully convicted individuals transition back into society. He says he's still healing, still rebuilding, but he's no longer silent. And he never will be. A broken taillight, a faulty field test, a system stacked against the innocent. Darryl Freeman's story isn't just tragic, it's a warning. Because if it could happen to him, it could happen to anyone.